The clan lives inside their god. Its body, a great, domed mountain of fused bone, is the only permanent thing in a world of fleeting, violent life. Ages before the first of their kind walked, the unmoving mountain had fallen here, and in its hollowed-out carcass of stone, the people of the shell found refuge. Its armor of interlocking osteoderms, each the size of a man's torso, turns the sun's heat in the teeth of lesser predators. The massive club of its tail, long since detached, lies in the center of the main cavern, serving as both anvil and altar. This is the heart of their world, a fortress of divine providence in an era of impossible beasts. I yell you. The old matriarch, whose face is a roadmap of droughts and famines, sits near the western opening, her fingers tracing the fossilized patterns. She feels the deep thrum of the earth through the bone, the distant, shuddering footfalls of browsing giants. Here, they are safe. This is the one great truth of their prehistoric life. The god shell does not move, and so they endure. The apathetic reign of the dinosaurs is a storm that breaks against its unthinking hide. The truth begins to unravel with a flicker of motion at the tree line. Tail, a young hunter with eyes that see farther than most. He's the first to notice. He grips his spear, its fire-hardened tip a sliver of hope against the terrors of the outside. It is not the lumbering shape of an Ankylosaurus or the brutish charge of a car, not AUR. This is something different. A feathered shape, tall as a man, detaches itself from the ferns. It moves with a liquid, bird-like grace that is utterly predatory. A Utahraptor. Kale has seen them before, but only from a great distance. Swift flashes of death that can dissemble a tenon to soar in a heartbeat. This one is not hunting. It stands just at the edge of the clearing. Head caught. It's enormous. Sickle-shaped claw held poised above the ground. Its eye, a shiver of malevolent yellow, is fixed on the shell. Undam. It is not looking at a meal. It is studying a problem. An unnerving stillness settles over the beast. A display of patience that feels more terrifying than any roar. A low murmur ripples through the clan as others see the watcher. The younger hunters, full of the shell's divine security, hoist their spears and rattle them against the bone walls. A hulu, booming sound they hope will intimidate, but the raptor does not flinch. Its head merely tilts again, as if cataloguing the noise. Then, a second appears to its right, and a third to its left. Within moments, a pack of 7 forms is silent, watching semiscaral, their plumed bodies stark against the green. They do not advance, they simply wait. Their collective intelligence are palpable for pressing in on the clan. ILU rises, her old bones aching. She looks past the bravado of her kin and sees the chilling reality. These creatures are not testing the strength of the Ankylosaurus shell. They are measuring the weakness of the ancient humans inside it. The unmoving mountain protects them from brute force, but she feels a cold certainty that it offers no sanctuary from a thinking mind and a patient claw. Their god is a stone, and a stone cannot outwit hunger that learns. Days bleed into a tense, great twilight. The Utahraptors do not leave. The sun bakes the plains, but they remain, taking to the shade of the cycad grove, their sickle claws glinting in the filtered light. They are a feature of the landscape now, as permanent as the distant volcanoes. The clan's water skins run dry. Thirst becomes a rasp in every throat, a dull ache behind the eyes. The initial bravado of the young hunters coalesce into a sullen, simmering fear. They learn the pack's horrifying patience on the third day, when Oti, driven by the cries of his child, makes a desperate run for the stream. He is fast, his legs corded with muscle from a life of pursuit and flight. But the raptors are faster. They flow from the trees not as a mob, but as a net of sinew and bone. They do not try to kill him. Instead, 2 of them flank him, herding him back with terrifying precision, their claws flashing close enough to leave shallow, bleeding warnings on his arms. He scrambles back inside the shell, gasping, defeated. The lesson delivered in his own blood. There is no escape. The shell is no longer a fortress. It is a cage. The altar stone, the great tail club of their god, now serves as a butcher's block for the last of their meager stores. They portion out strips of dried meat so thin they are translucent. The children chew on leather to trick their stomachs. The hunters sit staring at the entrances, their spears, once symbols of their survival skills, now feeling like useless sticks from her vigil. You watch as the enemy. She sees more than monsters. She sees a mind at work. She observes their intricate pack dynamics, the subtle dips of the head and guttural chirps that coordinate their movement. One raptor, larger than the rest, with a distinctive slash of red plumage across its snout, is the clear alpha. It directs the patrols, assigning watchers to each of the shell's 3 openings. It tests their defenses not with brute force, but with chilling intelligence, sending a subordinate to scrape a claw along the edge of an opening. Watching the humans flinch back, they are being dissected, their weaknesses catalogued by a reptilian gaze that holds no mercy, only cold calculation. This siege is an act of intellect, a strategic strangulation. The profound despair settles in when a young triceratops, separated from its herd, wanders into the clearing. The clan watches through the bone slits, their mouths watering at the sight of so much meat. The raptors react instantly, in a blur of coordinated violence that is a masterpiece of prehistoric slaughter. They isolate the herbivore, hamstringing it, leaping onto its back, their claws finding the soft flesh at the neck. They fell the beast within sight of the starving clan, a deliberate and cruel demonstration of their power. As they feast, the alpha tears off a massive chunk of flesh and deposits it just outside the main entrance, a taunting offering. It is then that Elu knows her people are not just being contained, they are being broken. Their god, the unloving mountain, offers no deliverance. It is a tomb gifted to them by a dead world, and its silence is the answer to their prayers. That night, she gathers the hollow-eyed clan leaders around the cold altar. Her voice is low, brittle as old bone. The stone does not see us, she whispers, shattering the lifetime of faith. It is a good shield, but a pure god. We will not be saved. We must save ourselves. In the oppressive dark of the shell, a new, terrible understanding begins to dawn. A pivotal moment in their hominid history. The new covenant is born in whispers, in the dark heart of the shell. It is a plan forged from desperation and Elu's cold, hard-won wisdom. Her mind performs its own kind of archaeology, excavating memories of the land, of every ridge, dame trail, and pitfall. She remembers the choking gulch, a narrow ravine 200 paces to the north, a natural trap with sheer rock walls. The raptors, for all their cunning, are still slaves to the chase. Their predatory focus is their one exploitable flaw. The plan she lays out is simple in its design and suicidal in its execution. They will use the raptors' own hunger to lure them into the gulch, and in, with fire and terror, they will bring the world down on top of them. This is the dawn of a new kind of primitive technology, where the weapons are not just stone and wood, but terrain, fear, and the predictable instincts of other living things. There is no vote. There is only the grim nodding of heads in the darkness. A silent agreement to gamble extinction for a chance at tomorrow. Kale has chosen to be the bait, not for his speed, but for his control. He must draw the pack, keep their attention, and lead them on a precise path into the gulch without being disemboweled. The clan spends the last of its energy preparing. They weave thick bundles of dried grass and resin-soaked wood into torches. The children, their faces pinched with hunger, gather loose stones to be dropped from the ravine's edge. It is a collective effort born of shared terror. As dusk bleeds across the sky, smearing it with hues of orange and purple, the clan moves. A small party, led by Elu's second, slips out the back of the shell, circling wide to take up a position above the gulch with their torches and stones. Kel remains at the main entrance, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. He takes a deep, like breath, cutting a chunk of the rotting triceratops meat left by the raptors. He steps out into the open. The other, red snout, lifts its head, its yellow eyes locking onto him. The trap is set. The chase is a blur of pounding feet and snapping jaws. Kel runs not like a hunter, but like prey, his panic real, his terror scent on the wind that whips the pack into a frenzy. He feels the hot breath of the lead raptor on his heels. He hears the terrible click of its claws on stone. He dares not look back. He can only trust ELU's map in his head. The path to the choking gulch. He veers left, skidding on loose shale, and plunges into the narrow opening. The pack follows without hesitation, their world narrowing to the fleeing hominid. As the last raptor enters the gulch, a piercing cry echoes from above. ILU's signal. The night explodes. Torches, blazing comets of orange fury, are thrown down into the narrow space. The dry brush ignites, and a wall of flame seals the entrance behind the pack. Panic erupts among the predators. Trapped between Kale and the fire, they screech and claw at the impassable rock walls. At the other end of the gulch, the rest of ELU's party hurls their stones, not to kill, but to create a terrifying, percussive barrage that drives the panicked raptors back towards the flames. This is more than survival. It is the brutal, unwritten beginning of a new chapter in human evolution. In the aftermath, a profound silence descends, broken only by the crackle of burning brush and the distant, mournful call of a lone hadrosaur. The clan emerges from the shell, their faces lit by the fire's dying glow, gaunt and stunned. They are alive. The air stinks of burnt feathers and cooked meat. Kale stumbles out of the far side of the gulch, collapsing, his body trembling but whole. They have not simply killed a pack of predators. They have dismantled a god. They traded blind faith in a fossil for a covenant with fire, stone, and their own desperate intellect. In the bloody dawn, they look upon the shell of the Ankylosaurus not with reverence. That was a new, clear-eyed understanding. It is a tool, a useful piece of the world, no different than a sharp flint or a sturdy branch. The true sanctuary was never the bone around them, but the nascent mind within them, the audacious spark that allowed a creature of flesh to outwit a monster of teeth and claw. This moment, lost in the deep currents of prehistory, is a blueprint. It is the first tactical document, written in blood and ash, for a species that would refuse to be prey. Every strategy session in a corporate boardroom, every battle plan laid across a general's map, has its genetic origin here. In this desperate gambit against a reptilian nightmare, how much of our ascent is owed not to our nobility, but to our terror, to the hard choices made in the dark when the monsters were real, circling the fire, their eyes reflecting a hunger that could only be answered with a greater, more cunning fire of our own. For a chronicle is not a history of what was, but a river of what had to be. And yet, in the deepest caves, some things are learned that fire cannot burn away.